E's peas are in a bunch. Barak, Yahawah, Rawchaa, Qadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is E's peas are in a bunch. Laugh out loud. You know, E stands for Esau, and P stands for, panties. So Esau's panties are up in a bunch about this about this whole situation with puddings. As Elder Bishop Sakaran calls them, Putin. He revealed this vault with icons that go back 1,000 years that show Yahawashi and the prophets and all that as being so-called Negroes. Which they are in fact so-called Negroes. And these devils are mad. They big mad, boy. They're upset. They're really upset about this whole thing. I mean, they're making all kind of videos. Some of them are coming out straight up saying that this is true. He's a so-called black man. I've known this for a while. Which some of those could be Jake's. Then you got devils like this one and the one before him, who were showing pictures of ancient Egyptian artifacts. I don't know if it's ancient, but Egyptian artifacts saying this guy don't look like no Western African. And you're right, because the people here in the West are not African. The original Africans were, also Negroes, but they were not the so-called Negroes of America. The so-called Negroes of America are Hebrew Israelites. The so-called Negroes of ancient Africa are Hamites. All right? Even in the Zondervan's Bible dictionary, let's see if we could find that. And then there was another guy. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me do this. There was another guy that was talking about, they were not black because, when you read Genesis, the 10th chapter in First Chronicles, the first chapter, something like that, or First Chronicles, you'll see, if you do some deep research. First of all, that's Genesis 10 is what they call the Table of Nations, and First Chronicles is a book of the chronology of of the world, of different nations. So what are you saying? That all nations were white? Come on, man. The gig is up, Esau. The gig is up. So here you got Ham, the youngest son of Noah. This is from the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary, by the way. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor or the father of the dark races. Then it says not the Negroes. Why? Because they know, these researchers, these scholars, by the way, that put together this book know that the so-called Negroes in America are different from the so-called blacks of Africa, the original blacks of Africa, not the not the ones that are there, that whose ancestors were brought over to this side of the world, for lack of better words. But the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites, right? And then you go to Genesis 10. It'll give you the list what Esau calls the Table of Nations. You have your Japhites, which the Japhetic people, that lived in Europe, what they call Europe today, are not, so-called white people, what they call Europeans today. The original people of Europe and the Mediterranean islands were all brown-skinned people. You could research the Etruscans, you could research the Minoans, you could research the Pict people, and others that were all brown-skinned people. You had different historians, McRitchie, and others. I can't remember all of the names, but when they gave a description of these particular individuals from Europe, they were all swarthy or dark-skinned or brown-skinned people. All right. Even Benjamin Franklin said it himself. He called the original Germans swarthy, because you had Jake that ruled Europe for a period of 1,000 years, and prior to Jake ruling Europe, you had Esau in certain regions because they took over the dark-skinned people or the brown-skinned people of Japheth. All right, and they assimilated beginning with the Macedonians / Greeks, into the European continent by way of conquering and removal of the original peoples of those lands. All right, so don't come to us with that bullshit, because you're not going to pull the wool over our eyes. You could pull it over the world's eyes, but you can't pull it over our eyes, because we're onto you, devil. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. The ones that can't see it are the ones that are lost, the ones that are under the spell of this beast system of Esau, in whom the God of this world, which is who? Esau, working under Satan and his wicked spirits, under the orders of the Most High himself, Yahawah Bashem Yahawashi, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not. And that's why they can't get it, because they don't believe. It wasn't given to them to believe. Least the light of the glorious gospel of Yahawashi, who is the image of the Most High, should shine unto them. Right, so if this light of this gospel will shine unto them, then they would wake up and see, the light, so to speak. Now, these devils, I put this video in the description box. I didn't finish watching the whole thing. I only got up to 8 minutes 31 seconds. I was just listening. Been looking for, pretty much from the time I got up, been looking for a lesson to go into. Nothing was coming to me, so I was listening to this video, getting ready to go for a little walk. And before I could, get rolling out the door, I was listening to this video, and it just hit me to, to do this lesson. E's P's are up in a bunch. So these devils are mad. I got to finish watching this video. It's 22 minutes 32 seconds long, so I got to see what else is going to come up. But these devils are upset because they deceived the whole world once they came out of that prison sentence, and now they're highly upset, with the fact that they're being exposed as a bunch of goddamn liars, the liars that they are. Let's go to Revelation 13. Matter of fact, before we go there, no, you know what? 13 and 3. Revelation 13 and 3. And I saw one of the heads as they were wounded to death. Those of you that have been studying know that this head, which is one of the seven, represents the Roman Empire, which was in power during the time of the Apostle John. And actually the same year that the Apostle John wrote this was the same year that the Edomite rule of the pagan Roman Empire was taken down. So shortly after this was written, that's when Domitian was deleted. All right, and Jake started to rule. I believe the first ruler was Nerva, and then you had one before him during the time of the four Roman emperor, the year of the four emperors. Vitellius, I believe his name was. It says, and I saw one of his heads as they were wounded to death. Right, this was the Roman Empire, and his deadly wound was healed. When was his deadly wound healed? After that period of 1,000 years, which what is known today as the Renaissance. So this is when his deadly wound was healed. And then when his deadly wound was healed, all the world wandered after the beast. So everyone on the planet at one time was under the spell of this devil. Everybody at one point or another believed that the Messiah was a so-called white man, that Yahawashi was a so-called white man, and so on and so forth. But now the truth is coming out. The word world here is gay or gi. There you go, gay or gi, or where you get the word geo, which means arable land, the ground, the earth as a standing place, the earth as a whole. And that's what it is, the earth as a whole. This is also synonymous with the word oikoumene, which means the whole entire planet. All right. So the whole world wandered after the beast. They were caught up in the spell of this beast because they're one of their greatest blessings outside of the sword was deception. And you have the word thaumazo, to wonder at, marvel, to be wondered at, be had in admiration. So they pretty much were set up on top as the greatness of the world. Everybody wants to be like Esau, because they thought that the Most High and Yahawashi and the angels, so on and so forth, were so-called white, so everybody wanted to be like them. But now that shit is wearing off, and through studying, the scriptures, we're finding out that to look like a so-called white person is a skin disease called leprosy, pursuant to Leviticus 13 and Leviticus 14. All right, and the Lord, the Most High, is not leprous, neither is his son Yahawashi, neither are the angels, neither are the Israelites, even though you have Israelites out there that have mingled the seed, the men mingled the seed with the other types of, other nations' women, and some of the children came out looking like these Edomites, okay, and the other nations. That's the whole dynamic right there. Now, Revelation 20:7, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. They had a prison sentence that they were let go from, beginning in the 1300s into the 1400s, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. And how did they deceive them? By something known as the Renaissance. All right. Look at this bullshit, man. Satan. So it says the Renaissance is a period of history and a cultural movement making the transformation from the Middle Ages to modernity, covering the 15th and the 16th century, which is the 1400s and the 1500s, and it goes far back as the 1300s. But it didn't really start taking root on the earth until the 1400s. And then when you look at this bullshit, you see exactly what happened. Now when you go back during the time of the Greeks actually did this heinous act in setting up their images, which Esau is doing it today, under the modern day Edomites or so-called white people. First Maccabees 3:48, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images, which the Greeks did that. And also the Edomites, once they got into power under the Renaissance, did the same thing. All right. Prior to this, if you look at actual icons that have been destroyed by whitewashing, a term called iconoclast, you'll notice that the hair looks bushy, but they painted doggy stringy hair over it. But then when you go to the actual Renaissance pictures, the hair is flat. But when you go to icons that have been destroyed and painted white, you'll see that the hair is bushy. All right? And you'll see the stringy hair painted over it. That's a great deception. So these devils are mad that Putin opened up the vault and showed black images, of the real Messiah, of the real Most High, of the real Israelites and angels and so on and so forth. So they're upset about that. All right. Now, when we go to, because the best way to destroy a lie is to hit it with truth. Spray it, with truth, and that lie will be demolished. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 28. It says, as for faith it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome. And the truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared. And it's coming right out of the same book that they make people swearing on, the same book that, they claim to believe in. But then when we bring it out, nope, that's not it, because the white man didn't sanction it. But we don't give a shit about that. We're teaching the words of Yahawah B'Shem Yahawashi through the inspiration of Yahawah B'Shem Yahawashi through the Rawchaa Qadash. And when you go into these scriptures, Job 30:30, this is Job speaking. My skin is what? Black upon me, and my bones are burnt with heat. So Job himself was a so-called black man. The word for black is shachar. Let's see, to be black, to be black of skin. See? To be black of skin. Show me a white person that, because they'll tell you that, well, they were sick. He was sick, that's why his skin was black. Show me a white person that ever got sick that turned black. And I'll wait. You know, whenever anyone is sick, they'll turn paler than what they normally are. They don't turn black. Okay, so this is talking about black skin. So Job was a so-called black man. Even in that video, right? In that video there was an individual prior to these two individuals that were talking shit. I'm not sure. I think it was this guy here and another guy. It might have been him, or it could have been this individual at the beginning that was speaking about Yahawashi actually being a so-called black man. It says so in Revelation, the 1st chapter, and I believe he's even mentioned Daniel 10 chapter, which nobody brought those out, which means they've been listening to the Hebrew Israelites. I've never heard ever in my life anyone bring out Revelation 1 and Daniel the 10th chapter to prove that Yahawashi was a so-called black man, except for the Hebrew Israelites. So the world had been duped, and now that the truth is coming out, they're getting upset. You know, let's go from there to Songs of Solomon 1 and 5. Let's read the first verse. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. Solomon wrote this. All right. Verse 5. I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Qadash, as the curtains of Solomon. Because the Israelites were brown-skinned people. The Ishmaelites were brown-skinned people. Some were darker than others. When we look at this word black, once again, the word black is shakar, black. See, it doesn't go into it in this one. They're being slick. But when you go here to the Jacinia's Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, it says black, used of hair, a horse, blackish color of the face. Okay? So that's what this is talking about, the blackish color of the face. Just like Job, just like King Solomon. So if King Solomon was a so-called black man, then what does that make King David? Also a so-called black man, you know? Or what they call ruddy. Ruddy does not mean red. Ruddy means, you know, like reddish undertones in brown skin. Like you see Jake in America, they have that brownish reddish color. That's what it's talking about. You type in ruddy animals, you're gonna get that brownish reddish color. You type in ruddy people, you're gonna get the brown skinned people. Now of course they're gonna throw Esau in there, but Esau is not ruddy. Trying to think, there was another one that had come to mind. Oh, the word Qadar. Kedar goes back to the Hebrew word Qadar. This is also used in Jeremiah 14:2. Kedar, dark, son of Ishmael, the descendant of Kedar. Boom. Don't really go into too much. It speaks about the Bedouins. It speaks about, you know, Ishmael, so on and so forth. It says here, black-skinned man. Okay? They didn't call him black-skinned man because he had a tan. He didn't call him black-skinned man because he was pale. They called him a black-skinned man because he was very dark. So out of all the children of Ishmael, this particular one came out super dark out of all of them. All right. So that's that. Let's go. And then the original Egyptians, which are brown-skinned people, as we read here, that Ham, who is the father of the so-called Africans today, because the land of Ham today is named Africa. All right, let's see if we can pull that up. Land. You know what? Let me do it this way. Land of Ham. Land of Ham. What do we have here? Let's see if this will open up its... It's a little fuzzy, little grainy. Let me see if I can find a better one. This is a little better. You have Ham, which is what? Africa. Japhet, Europe. You had the brown-skinned people of Japhet that ruled Europe. Not no goddamn honkies. Honkies came out of Edom, the Edomites. All right, that's where they came out of. Then you have Shem, which is all of this region here. All right, you had 5 sons of Shem. Those would all be known as Shemites. Arphaxad, Elam, Ashur, Aram, and Lud. I believe it was Lud, if I'm not mistaken. All of those are the 5 families of the Shemites, and then they in turn had sons and sons and sons, because the Ishmaelites came out of that line, out of Abraham, who came out of that Shemitic line. So the Arabs themselves would be Shemitic. All right. Now we go back. We type in Minoans. Right? And what do you have here? Behold, when you look at the Minoan people are brown-skinned people. Now they'll say, well, why is there a white woman in the middle of that? Well, when you do the research, you see the men and the women look similar. So to distinguish between male and female, they would paint the female white. You could do the research. That's why she looks white, but she's not actually white. She is brown skinned just like they are. And what do these people look like? They look like your typical Hawaiians, what they call Polynesian people. Okay? You do the research. You look up Minoans in the what is that? Wikipedia. It tells you why they were, classified, or why you had certain individuals that were painted in the paintings of the Minoan as white, and that was to distinguish between the women and the men. Let me see something. Control. Fine. Okay, it doesn't bring it up here. I've seen it before. Unless they took it out. Just bear with me 1 second. Unless they took it out, but I believe it was in the actual Wikipedia. Where they actually mentioned the difference between the reason why certain images in Minoan art was why they were painted white, and it was to distinguish the males from the female. If you look very close, you'll see that pretty much they look similar. The men didn't have no beards, they were smooth face, smooth body, so that was to distinguish between the two. And if I can't find it, you could do your own research and find it. And if you could believe it or not, you could go do the research. If you find it, you find it. If you don't, hey, I don't know what to tell you. But we've done research, plenty of research on these different things. Like you go to the oh, wait a minute. Memo, survive, painted decorations. Appearance, just bear with me 1 second. Let's see, status of women. Here we go. Barak Yahawah Sham. This is you know what, let me just bring it back here so I can get the right status of women. Okay. Let's see. Status of women. Let's see. As a linear A, Minoan writing has not been deciphered yet. Most information available about Minoan women is from various arts forms and linear B tablets, and scholarship about Minoan women remains limited. Minoan society was a divided society separating men from women in art illustration, clothing, and societal duties. For example, documents written in linear B have been found documenting Minoan families wherein spouse and children are not all listed together. Let me just jump down to here. Artistically, women were portrayed very differently from men. Men were often artistically represented with dark skin, while women were represented with lighter skin. See? So pretty much, you know, the men were painted as they regularly are, and the women were painted looking white to distinguish between the man and the female. All right? Minoan dress representation also clearly marks a difference between men and women. So you know, you get the gist. You get the gist. All right. So this shows you that Esau is a goddamn liar. All right. And the Israelites were dark skin. Everybody on the planet was brown skin at one time. All right. Until Esau took over, or actually until the Lord cursed Cain with the skin disease of leprosy, and then after that, when the flood came, it wiped them all out, and eventually they came back through, you know, a man named Esau, which we believe is the reincarnation of, or the bringing back into the earth of Cain, that devil seed. This is Exodus 4:6, and the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom, and he put forth his hands into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. So if his hand turned leprous as snow, what color was it before it turned leprous as snow? Let me just get this one real quick. And it says, and he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again, and he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh, because his flesh was brown skin before it was turned to so-called white or leprous. You know, and he passed for the son of the Egyptian, the Pharaoh's daughter. All right, and the actual Egyptians, you know, the actual Egyptians were so-called brown-skinned people. All right, they were not white as they paint them today. Now, during the time when Alexander the Greek conquered, you know, Egypt, the heads, you know, the upper class, so to speak, were so-called white because the Ptolemies took over that land, and they became the new pharaohs. That's why you have some pharaohs that look like white people. So you got to get your facts right. There were 7 Cleopatras, which were daughters of the Ptolemaic kings or pharaohs that ruled. They were all so-called white women. So you individuals out there that get mad when Cleopatra is portrayed as a white woman, you're going off. Now, if Nefertiti is portrayed as a white woman, you have the right to get mad. But even that is bullshit because you're not African, even though you believe yourself to be. All right? So the Cleopatras, which were 7 of them, they were all so-called white women. All right? The Ptolemaic pharaohs, which was there was 13 of them, they were all Edomites, all so-called white-looking people. That's why you have certain, you know, relics, you know, of pharaohs being chiseled looking like so-called white people because they took over that land. just like they took over Europe. I don't understand what the problem is in believing that. They took over the land of the so-called North American Indians, the so-called North American Indians, the so-called Seminole Indians, the so-called Mexican Indians. They were all brown-skinned people. And they took over this land and act like they're the face of America. So I don't understand why it's so hard to believe that they conquered the world and put their faces up instead of the original faces that belong there in the first place. Leviticus 12. No, it's not Leviticus 12. It's Leviticus 10, I believe. Nope, Numbers. Salakia. It's been a minute. Numbers 12. And I'll start at 9. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he departed, because Miriam and Aaron were speaking against Moses because he married this particular woman. All right. It says, and the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became what? Leprous, white as snow. You got Jake today, and even Hamites, trying to lighten their skin. Try to look white because it's more beautiful, man. It's more beautiful to be white than to be this dark color. That's your mentality. That's what you that's how you were programmed. But let's see what Aaron says. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, behold, she was leprous. Let's see, oh Miriam, you look so beautiful. Now if you dye your hair, if you straighten your hair and you dye it, blonde, you would be banging. Put some contacts in your eyes, some blue contacts, and my goodness, you're just going to knock them dead. Well, let's see what Aaron said. And Aaron said unto Moses, alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. So it was a horror to look like that, to look like a so-called white person. That was considered like, disgusting. It says, let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed when he cometh out of his mother's womb. So how in the fuck are you Jakes out here wanting to be so-called white people and lighten your skin, bleach your skin to look like so-called white people when you have that glorious brown skin? And then when we read Leviticus, the 13th chapter, and I believe it's the 29th verse. Yep. Leviticus 13:29. If a man or woman have a plague upon the head or the beard, then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry scar, even a leprosy upon the head or beard. All right. So blonde hair is also leprosy. All right. But you want to look like a so-called white person, like a so-called white man, or like a so-called white woman. Dye your hair blonde, and those are all traits of leprosy. So these devils are mad because the truth is coming out, and they've bought this bullshit for so long, this lie for so long, that now that their whole world is coming apart and they're finding out that they're not those people that they thought they were, it's just destroying their whole world. And they got their panties in a bunch. They're aggravated. They're angry. They want blood because the truth is coming out. They say the truth hurts, and it does. It hurts, especially when you've been lied to for so long. Got news for you, devils. The real Israel, the Heavenly Father, His Son, the angels, and the real Israelites are brown-skinned people, from a dark brown to a light brown. Get over it. And what the Lord is doing right now is He's setting Jake in order before these devils' eyes. Let's go to Psalms 50 and 21. It says, these things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself. Yeah, because you've committed all these horrific things on the earth, and you haven't been judged for it. All these, 500 plus years. And you thought that the Heavenly Father was you. He thought that he looked like you. You thought that, well, the Lord is with us because, he looks like us. Look at the pictures of Jesus. Jesus, baby, Jesus. But I will reprove thee. So the Lord is correcting you, cursing you out, and set them, meaning the Israelites, in order before thine eyes. And you're seeing that, and guess what? Great horror is taking hold of you. Because you're starting to realize that, that the people that you call niggas, spooks, spics, wetbacks, and all of that, are the people of the Most High, are the Israelites. And you done a bad thing. You've been a really bad boy. You did wrong. You're doing wrong. And the Lord is going to spank you, Esau. Revelation 11:11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right? So you're in fear now because your whole world is coming apart, because you know what you've done to the children of Israel. You know what you've done to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, so on and so forth, from Canada all the way to South America and everything in between. And you got a ass whipping coming to you. Bad. And this is why you have devils like Vocab Malone that don't want to accept reincarnation. Because if they accept reincarnation, they have to accept that the wicked deeds that they did in the past is coming to haunt them in this time. But whether you choose or whether you refuse, it don't matter. Because the Lord's still going to get your ass. He's still going to spank you. Because you're being prepared for slaughter for the iniquity of your fathers. Why? Because you are your forefathers coming back in this time to receive your judgment. And you're going to, you're not going to make it this time. You're going to be destroyed here in America. But when you come back and you're born through those devils that make it, that are on the other side of the world, then you're going to realize that, damn, they were right all along. Yeah, I knew somebody was going to put this up, but nah, this scripture here, this is not dealing with Esau, all right, and the nations. Jeremiah 16:19, I knew somebody would put it up eventually. Jeremiah 16:19, O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies. This is not talking about Esau and the nations. This is really talking about Jake's, that in a Gentile state of mind, coming back to the realization that they're Israelites. All right. And I figured somebody was going to put it up, but hey, it's good that it went up so we could correct it. That's actually dealing with the Israelite foreigners, that inherited lies and vanity and things wherein there's no profit. All right. Just wanted to, pull that out. I figured somebody would bring it out, but I was just waiting, because I wanted to pull it out, but it just because something sounds good, if it's not factual or actual, we can't use that. Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labor. So right now these devils are being cursed out because of the wicked shit that they've done, and because of the lies that they've portrayed to the world. They dazzled the whole world. They bewitched the whole world with this lie, and now the truth is coming out. And we're finding out that they are not the people, that the whole world has been lied to, and that eventually, these devils are going to pay, because the first part of it is exposure. Oh no, don't worry about it, brother. That's why I brought it out to the spirit, just so that brothers can know. Because this is something that goes back, to the One West days, and that's how it was broken down back then. But it was wrong, But over time, it was been corrected. Now it was an honest mistake, my brother. No sweat. Don't worry about that. It says, when they shall see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. When they shall see what? When they shall see the elect of the nation of Israel being raised back up. And this thing, this truth that we're teaching started off as a mustard seed in Harlem, way back in the days. A mustard seed. And from that one man, Elder Abba Bivens, which we believe that's Elijah the prophet and John the Baptist coming back, and many other great men in the past, you see how great this knowledge has spread. Yahawashi said that grain of mustard seed would turn into the biggest tree, where all the fowls of the heavens would lodge on into it, or lodge on it. And you see this truth being spread out from that one man in that one area in America, in New York, Harlem, New York, to the world. All right, to the whole entire world. Wherever this truth is being taught, whether they're calling themselves IHBK, IUIC, GMS, or whatever other group they're calling themselves, that around the world speaking about Israelites, bringing out the truth and breaking down the 12 tribes and bringing out the 12 tribe sign, that all came from Harlem. That all came from New York. That all came from America. Because the Lord said that once this truth would be taught to the four corners of the earth, then the end would come. And this is what we see happening right now worldwide. So these devils are in fear. They ain't going to come out and say it, but they are in fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, because they're not expecting these chariots, who they call UFOs or UAPs, to come and pick up the elect. So far beyond all that they look for, yeah. Especially when they see Jake going up. Like in that Nike commercial, you had that so-called Latino, when the chariot beamed them up, the elect, It says, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. And who was that for? That was the Israelites. A proverb and a byword. Niggas speak, spook, wetback, so on and so forth. Negroes, Puerto Ricans, Haitians, Dominicans, those are all bywords and proverbs. So that lets you know within the curses that we would discontinue from who we are as a people. It would be called something else other than what our nationality was. We fools are counting this life madness and its end to be without honor, because that's what they think. Because this is the sentiment that has been put throughout the whole planet Earth. This is why when Esau puts Jake on, in the spotlight or in the limelight, he always makes Jake look foolish. And these clowns continue to take the bag to do stupid shit. When you see Esau plays, mostly plays, leading role, serious, got it all together, problem, solution, reaction, getting stuff together. But when you see Jake is always playing a goddamn buffoon, a goddamn whore, a deadbeat or something like that. But that's all right. How is he numbered among the children of the Most High, and his lot is among the saints? See, and who are the saints? The Israelites. Therefore have we erred from the way of truth, because they have the Bible, but they cannot keep it. Because the scriptures say, let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will they not learn righteousness. And the light of righteousness hath not shined unto us, and the sun of righteousness rose not upon us, because you are not the people. We wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yea, we have gone through deserts where they lay no way. But as for the way of the Lord, we have not known it. Because everything that you taught, about this plantation / Renaissance Christianity is nothing but a desert. It has nothing to do with Yahawah. It has nothing to do with this truth. What hath pride profited us? Or what good hath riches with our vaunting brought us? All those things are passed away like a shadow, and as a post that hasted by. Right, it's just a fleeting moment. And as a ship that passeth over the waves of the water, which when it is gone by, the trace thereof cannot be found, neither the pathway of the keel in the waves, as when a bird hath flown through the air, there is no token of her way to be found. Right, because once you go down, that's it. You're never going to be found again. When you go down, you're going to be a slave for 1,000 years. You're going to be as though you had not been. You're going to be a nobody. And then eventually, after you pay your punishment, then you're going to be grounded up and burnt. And never, ever again will you ever be on the planet Earth as the Edomites. And good riddance, because you motherfuckers, boy. But the light air being beaten with the stroke of her wings and parted with the violent noise and motion of them is passed through, and therein afterwards no sign where she went is to be found. Or like as when an arrow is shot at a mark, it parted the air, which immediately cometh together again, so that a man cannot know where it went through. Even so we in like manner, as soon as we were born, began to draw to our end, and had no sign of virtue to show. Yeah, because look at your history. This is why the Lord said he will spew shameful spewing on your glory. What do you so-called white people have as a legacy? Murder, rape, robbery, deceit, causing mayhem and mischief on the world. You've destroyed the world. They're trying to blame it on humanity. No, it was you devils. You set that in motion. And what do you think these nations are going to do that have a military if you come and infringe on their rights in their land? They're going to fight back. But we're consumed in our own wickedness. For the hope of the ungodly is like dust that is blown away with the wind, like a thin froth that is driven away with the storm, like as a smoke which is dispersed here and there with the tempest, and passeth away as a remembrance of a guest that tarrieth but a day. Right, and you could read Job the 20th chapter. It goes into the same thing. But the righteous live forevermore. Their reward also is with the Lord, and the care of them is with the Most High. So we don't have anything to worry about. All we got to do is keep doing what we've been doing. In the Lord's will, the Lord will deliver us. Therefore shall they receive a glorious kingdom and a beautiful crown from the Lord's hand. For with his right hand shall he cover them, and with his arm shall he protect them. Right, this dealing with the chariots. He shall take to him his jealousy for complete armor, and make the creature his weapon for the revenge of his enemies. This is another one that goes hand in hand with Ezekiel the 24th chapter, where it says that the Lord is going to take vengeance on Esau by the hand of his people Israel. He shall put on righteousness as a breastplate, and true judgment instead of an helmet. He shall take holiness for an invisible shield. His severe wrath shall be sharpened for a sword. Right, you could read about this in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, and Revelation 19, Revelation 12. And the world shall fight with him against the unwise. Then shall the right aiming thunderbolts go abroad. That's dealing with the lasers from the chariots. And from the clouds, as from a well-drawn bow, shall they fly to the mark. And hailstones full of wrath, which are the missiles, shall be cast out of a stone bow, which is talking about the silos, and the water of the sea shall rage against him. Yeah, because you're going to have tsunamis from the great earthquake, and the flood shall cruelly drown them. It's going to be nasty down here on this earth when the whole shit goes down. Yeah, a mighty wind shall stand up against them. That's your nuclear missiles. The devastating destruction, and like a storm shall blow them away. This iniquity shall lay waste the whole earth. And it's not going to lay waste the whole earth, meaning it's going to take Esau's kingdom down. Because this is going to just, this is why this devil Einstein said, I don't know what weapons World War III is going to be fought with, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Because he knows that this technology that these devils have is going to bring everything back to the Stone Age, so to speak. And ill dealing shall overthrow the thrones of the mighty, right? Because you have Esau, and then underneath him you have the other nations that also have their thrones. And they're going to be judged too. They're going to lose their power, their kingdom. But the difference is they're not going to be destroyed after they serve their punishment in the kingdom of heaven as slaves. Because eventually after that 1,000-year period, they're going to get, to be able to govern among themselves, but they'll be tributary to us forever. All right? So, these devils are mad. Ease peas are in a bunch. You got to watch this video. You got to watch it because you'll see. Like I said, some of these individuals, they were saying that it's true and that they believed it, but some of these individuals, they're delusional. Especially this guy here and the guy that before him. I haven't seen the rest yet. I'm only 8 minutes 31 seconds in. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters were edified. Barak Yahawah Yahawashi for the inspiration for this video. And Lord's will, see you brothers and sisters on the next one. Shalom.